Hey guys, welcome back to Behind the Growth. Today I have Sönke Venjacob. I'm sorry if I've completely botched your name. We are both based in Europe this time for this episode, but Sönke, welcome to the show, and I'm hoping that we can continue our spicy takes on where AI is bringing the market.
Hi, Spencer. Thank you so much for being here.
Um, okay, well, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you're here. For the listeners, this is going to be a completely, roughly unscripted conversation. Sonka and I have become, I would hope to say, friends over the last few months. We both run different agencies. I run Growth Alliance. He runs Platinum Agency. But yeah, Sonka, tell us like a little bit about what you do, and let's tie the conversation back into kind of like AI, because like that's kind of like where we are right now, right?
Yeah, sure. I started this Platinum agency based on ghostwriting content for LinkedIn founders. That was kind of like the starting point. And coming from sales myself, I kind of like discovered all these new tools like Clay, Lemlist, Hey, Reach Instantly. That kind of made me think last summer, hey, what are these tools? I have used SalesLoft, Outreach, kind of different sales stack. And so I was really curious, got into an accelerator, learned all these tools and thought, hey, why not just offer it myself? And that's kind of what let me dive into this AI world more, I would say, because in the beginning I still wrote all the content without AI because again, like 2 years ago, ChatGPT wasn't as good. You didn't really have Claude as a good alternative, and there were certainly no good AI writing tools, which changed by now because I use AI pretty much in every day in every type of work. But yeah, that's kind of like what we're doing. So now we're building either content engines for founders or even company teams. And to get, of course, inbound leads, the second is outbound, whether it's cold email or LinkedIn, it's where we help get them more conversations with their potential buyers.
Other than the accelerator, is there anybody in particular in the industry that you learn a lot from? Because I feel like you're quoting a certain Adam Robinson with the inbound lead outbound approach, like with RB2B and everything. So is that like somebody that you follow, or do you recommend like reading any other books, or like what did you read when you were in the accelerator? Because it's this is something I had to discover on my own. Was like, where are the use cases of AI? And we do different things, so it's interesting.
Yeah, good question. I wish, honestly, if you have any good book recommendations, I take them because I didn't find anything that was really on topic and on the time. Because again, it's really hard to write a book about growing space that is still current after like 3 or 6 months. So what I did, I honestly, and I still like to watch Eric Nowoslavsky's videos on YouTube. Like he always brings in very fresh insights. And so I would say he's definitely someone whenever he posts a video on YouTube and I'm one of his like 10K subscribers, I'm always diving into these videos because I know there's always a new nugget that I can take and maybe use myself or maybe just keep it in the back of my mind. So that's pretty much the one of the go-to experts that I really trust and listen to. Besides that, I would say I consume so much LinkedIn content. It's crazy. So I would say every now and then there is also some nuggets there. Obviously, you have a different content piece on LinkedIn. It's super short form oriented, not really depth in a way where you can just easily apply it. But I would say in terms of getting inspiration, I would say follow some guys that I like you, for example. And just like you said, you are doing a different thing with your agency in some ways. Like you're way more technical than I am. So, for example, in your posts, I'm also thinking, nice, this is something I have no idea about, and I never thought about it. So I would say it's a mix of people from like people who do what I do. so I can just, learn from people who are better than me, but also look outside of this space, like, okay, who's in my niche, but still offering something else. So I would say that's kind of like it. Eric Nowoslavsky on YouTube, and then on LinkedIn, people, for example, like you, like other friends of mine who I follow and still like to learn from.
Well, that's very kind of you. Okay, well, I'm glad that I actually only started LinkedIn. I only started posting on LinkedIn regularly November 2024. So it's December now, 2025. I only started posting about a year ago, and I remember I started doing outreach about a year and a half, like about 6 to 8 months before that. Um, I don't know how you like start got the confidence to like post. I kind of just didn't give a shit when I like started to post stuff. Um, and I feel like when I write content, I take my meeting notes every after every meeting. I have Fireflies to record my meetings, and I have a workflow set up to like I click a button, it says generate content, generates it in my voice, and usually I'll post it and I'll make like a little tiny graphic. But what I notice that I'm seeing is like a lot of the stuff that I see online is just like slop, and it comes off as inauthentic, and I feel the same thing is happening in the work that I do. The same thing that like with ghostwriting, like I know you've told me multiple times, like you're the one that writes the post. With the outbound, what I've noticed is that the trust is completely getting destroyed when somebody lands in my inbox and it's completely irrelevant. Like when somebody emails me in Czech, I can read it, but then you've used the wrong form in the wrong, like in a lot of European languages, we have, formal and informal, but in English, it's not like that. So I just feel like a lot of the industry like, right now, I feel like it's right here, and I feel like a lot of people, even like us, are trying to kind of like cultivate that authenticity with the AI, and it's just I feel like it's backfiring. That's like my hot take for today. So I don't know if you have an opinion on that. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say, and I recently posted about, I think on Monday on LinkedIn about it because we have all these AI influencers on Instagram and TikTok, and they get already millions of followers, and their engagement is insane. And there's people who comment, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful." So either it's people commenting and knowing that this is an AI, but they still like to say, "Hey, they're beautiful," because we're humans and we can't really distinct AI from a human, or we are just doomed, because LinkedIn is still luckily a platform that is very strict. I mean, there are platforms where you can still rent LinkedIn accounts, but these are usually real accounts that just yeah, they are just being sold to someone else so they can use it for outbound, which is crazy. So, what I would say is LinkedIn will at least be safe in this way that it's not going to get flooded, very unlikely, with fake accounts. But when I see content, like it's like you see a hook, you see the first like 2 or 3 sentences, and you already know what the post is going to be about. And I must say, I'm pretty sure maybe sometimes I still do it as well. And I've done it 100% a dozen times where I just copied frameworks of people that I looked up to and that they just followed through with like, oh yeah, okay, this is I don't know the drama story, and then you have like the like from zero to hero story, and you already know okay, this is gonna be the post. And depending on whether you like the person or not, you still might leave a like or comment. But even when I use certain tools like Claude or Scribe or ChatGPT, kind of like a mix because I don't have like very nice system set up like you. I'm just very messy and like an artist who has like this huge canvas and it's like I sometimes notice that I used to like what I create with AI, and I'm like, man, this is a really good post. I really like it. Where I'm right now noticing, okay, this just sounds. It doesn't sound like me, and it sounds a bit too yeah, like it's like you can foresee what's gonna come, and I don't like it anymore. I would say.
Okay, that's a good one. I notice it when I write too. Like when I write a post, Like for instance, like I posted a picture of me like rock climb. If you follow me for the last 6 months, you know that I rock climb. But I sometimes I just I'm like screw it. I'm just gonna like post a random photo of me like doing a random thing, and you know who like comments on that and who engages? It's not like the tens of thousands of people or like the 5,000 people. It's like people like you. It's like people that I actually have a relationship with, or like you know like a friendship or a relationship with, and I feel like the reach ends up being roughly the same, but the amount of like engagement is less. And or the engagement is higher, which is you know like it's either high comment, high low likes, or it's high likes, low comments. So I would rather engagement. Like I'd rather cultivate like you know conversation. Um, I don't know. I notice it in the AI. Like you know, I've trained these like agents to write like me, and sometimes I look at it, I'm like, this looks like shit. Like this doesn't like I understand why it would write something like that, or why it would translate a conversation to you know like an atomic value of a conversation or something like this. I think the best voice is still like the one that like freely just comes out of my head. Because I've noticed like when I try to make a post and I'm like, yeah, this is the framework, this is like this, it doesn't catch. Like it, I don't know, like with you, like I know that that's your niche, but I noticed that like I'm not effective. So, yeah, I need a marketing strategy. I need like a LinkedIn content strategy is the problem. It's just like I still get discovery calls that come in. Like I woke up this morning and I had two. Like one's like a white label service offer and one is like an expertise invitation. Like I guess it's working. I don't know if it's working as well for other people or if it's working better, but somehow I still feel behind. I don't know if you feel that.
I would say not anymore so much, but obviously, whenever a post isn't getting the traction, I am also like thinking, oh man, what's going on? You know, is it the graphics? Is it the post? There are so many things, of course, that are either in my own responsibility, like, okay, this really sucked. Like, I should have just, you know, given 10 more minutes to really finalize the graphics for whatever. But there's also so many things outside of our control. Like the algorithm, maybe today is the day where videos are getting pushed. Oh, perfect. And I just posted a photo. Nice. So I would say it really depends, I think, on how long you've been doing it. I started posting like in, I would say, February 2023. So it's been almost 3 years. And this is really like, I don't know, brushing my teeth. It's especially when you have dialed down on, okay, what do you like to post? What do you kind of like enjoy? And I would say posting for a year is already super nice, where you get lots of experience. You already know, okay, do I like to do videos or photos? But it can also change. What I see is that videos, and that's just a prediction, because we have all these easily created text posts, and there's probably going to be ways where you have super straightforward carousels that still look nice enough. I'm pretty sure 3 years ago I would have wished to have an AI carousel created, but I think that video will at least have a big comeback in terms of, hey, this person's really authentic. They are really speaking their mind for 45 seconds, 60 seconds, or however long you're gonna upload that video on LinkedIn for. But yeah, I think this is the last piece we have as humans, is these face-to-face conversations or face-to-face conversations where you can really see, hey, this is a person that I like. They have really cool things to share. I agree with some of their opinions, and some of their polarizing opinions, wow, they really make me think. And yeah, how can you portray this in a world where everyone is using AI for text written posts? No matter, and this is interesting, like you said, no matter how well you trained your AI agents, that sometimes they might not really sound like you after all. And this again is also completely like a question that I ask myself. Is it because we constantly change as humans. And we kind of like think in 3 months our AI agent that is trained isn't really reflecting us anymore, because a friend of mine showed me how their reply agent works, and he's like, man, sometimes I don't know, was it me who wrote that reply or was it our agent? And and that was really cool to see, but also I'm like, man, is this ever going to work on me, where I have an AI that really sounds one to one like me? No idea.
So I've played around with it, and like what I've noticed is, especially when I'm sending like emails, like whatever, like I don't just send emails, but like in this whole industry, this is like a whole big moat of a definition of like what is a go-to-market engineer, what do we do, X, Y, Z, whatever. So I've noticed this idea of like, did I write that? Like this instance of like, was that really me? Who was that? Who responded? Who did that? Like I've noticed that it's becoming even harder. And it's like I see this on Instagram. First of all, I see this with like the AI generated like TikTok shit, and I see it with like the Instagram stuff. And then I see like people's faces, and I'm like, wait a second. And I like click on the profile and I like look at some of the other videos, and it's an AI avatar. And I'm like, God damn it. And it takes me, and it's like something seems off, and I can't tell what it is. And it's scary. Like when I have a email reply agent that I have, and I have it for every single one of my accounts that I run. Just plug it in AI field. It runs off of Gemini actually. And it's like, yeah, like look at the tone of voice that the email was originally written in, and then cross-reference it against whatever the tone of voice and communication style and the matrix of the company, right? Um, and it and I'm like, I look at it, and the pre-written replies, I don't automatically send them. I usually send it to like the sales team, and I draft it in their folder to reply from. But they've said to me like a few months ago, they're like, yeah, I just hit send. I just hit send. I just keep hitting send because they're like, I don't need to change them at all. And I said like, okay. And we went back and I looked at what replies actually converted more, like the ones that they wrote and the ones that we wrote. We couldn't figure them out. Like the confident, like maybe it was like laziness, but maybe it was confidence. But like I can't. It's getting harder and harder for me to distinguish between like what is real, a real human, and what is human assisted, and what is AI assisted, and what's fully AI. Like with the content, a lot of people. What I've noticed, I've talked to a few other people similar to what you do with the content generation, is the I've noticed that a lot of people say that they use AI, and a lot of businesses want to adopt AI, and they say, we need to do this, we want to do this. And then you know what it comes back to? It's like, oh, but we're not going to tell you exactly what we're doing because I think we're ashamed of using AI to write content, or we're using, like, you're using it to crunch the numbers, or like, they'll never tell you what their formula is. Like, why would they tell you what their superpower is? Because our margin on using non-human labor from an operations perspective is at least two or three times. Like write 20 LinkedIn article. I don't know what your margin is, but you don't have to share that. But like, um, I think it's the process that people pay for. It's not like the tooling. I think like I'll talk honestly like when and where I use AI, but a lot of companies won't.
Yeah, that's an interesting take, honestly. I mean, yeah, everyone is using AI. You know that everyone is using AI somewhere, somewhat. But yeah, I mean, that's also, I mean, that's a whole ethical thing. Also, maybe about transparency. Like for me, do I really like? I mean, if I look at something, let's say I am paying I have a graphic designer. She is amazing, doing amazing graphics. And to be honest, I never really follow her process because I'm not watching her design in Figma. But if she uses AI for inspiration or something, and I still get an amazing product, I'm happy to pay her the same amount no matter what she's doing. So I would say I personally like to pay for the product or like the finished result. And I don't really care if it's AI or not, because I know even if I, like, again, and this is more about how much knowledge do you have in each specific domain. I know in most cases, even if you give someone ChatGPT the same, maybe even the same, like custom GPTs, and I don't know, Scribe as a writing tool. I'm not sure if someone with no understanding or basic understanding of marketing and LinkedIn is going to create a post that will be as good as when I do it. And this is can go in any other domain as well, because again, you can give a race driver, in my opinion, an older car and get him to race against, I don't know, me in a Formula One car. And I am very certain that I am still not going to win if it's a challenging racetrack. If it's like, okay, straight line, just punch it. Okay, cool. But that's usually not how it works in any domain.
So, okay, I love that. I'm gonna definitely use that comparison between the race car. Okay, so I feel like this is something we discussed the last when we were talking last time in our catch up chat. Do you have like a definition? Because you're doing a lot of like writing, and I do a lot of like systems thinking. Do you feel like you have a clear definition for authentic content? Or is it so muddled right now with AI that it's like hard to define like what is authentic?
I would say anything is authentic where you agree with, because again, this is just what, in my opinion, what authentic means. You are just being like true to yourself. Again, and I think this is what what goes against the grain usually either gets more engagement, but it also seems, of course, a bit more authentic, because suddenly you're, yeah, going against the grain, and people are like, "What?" But commenting 20 times per day, I thought this is how you grow, on LinkedIn, for example. But I think you can still be very authentic, and in my opinion, some creators are still being very authentic. For example, I don't know, Jordan Crawford. I really like this guy. I've never spoken to him, but in my opinion, he seems like a genuine, authentic person. Like he did this video where he, I don't know, ordered five for $500 in the toast shop or something, and then it suddenly went from like the shopping cart value went from 500 to zero. And I'm just like, man, this is such a random piece of content. But I also have like a friend of mine. I'm pretty sure you know him as well, Kellen Spear. Very authentic guy, and I know him. We did the whole like podcast, and we spoke, and we exchanged DMs, and like, I don't know, I think there are people that just come up where I'm like, man, this guy or girl, woman, is very authentic. And I would say it really comes down to maybe not shit posting, because Jordan is definitely shit posting sometimes, but I like it. But again, I think it really means, okay, how authentic do you want to be? And this can mean, okay, I'm just sharing everything, or I'm just sharing like tiny bits and pieces of my personal life. Because again, it's B2B. Like, I don't need to overshare everything. But in my opinion, what are the limits? Like, if you want to share what breakfast you had, man, maybe I'm gonna like that post, because I'm like, okay, in this world full of like AI slop that is, I don't know, the same type of content every single time, maybe we're gonna see more muesli posts, for example, and they will get more traction. But to answer your question, I think there is still space, there's still people posting authentic content. And I would say myself, I got a bit too much maybe into like posting infographics, and definitely didn't share much of the personal life from behind the scenes that I would say boost credibility and authenticity in many ways. But yeah, that's my take on it.
So, luckily for you, I don't eat muesli for breakfast. It's not so you won't get any muesli
Oh
posts
man.
from. I'm sorry, you'll get rock climbing photos of me instead. Um, that's hilarious. Yeah, I also agree that Jordan is a little bit of a shit poster, but I've texted him, a really genuine guy. He's helped me debug a few things, and um, I feel like I feel like everybody in our industry knows him in our little AI GTM bubble. And I don't know if you know another guy. I follow him, Jacob Dietel, Dietle, Dietle. Dude,
There rings a bell.
this guy is like insane. Like after we finish recording, like go look this guy up on LinkedIn and like the stuff he does with like the databasing and the contextualization and context layering is like far beyond me. It's cool. It's like one of those things where I'm like, ah, I wish I could do that. Like but then there's also like I don't feel like I consume as much of the carousels anymore. If I smell like it's too perfect, I don't like inherently I don't like sit there and I'm like scroll because then I have to fucking scroll through like 13 pages of carousel when I could just scroll all the way to the end and go back three and then learn the lesson of the carousel. And like I don't want to do that. And I guess I'm not a regular B2B consumer. I mean, I guess the content is not made for me then. Maybe.
Maybe it wasn't interesting enough. I rarely swipe through carousels, but I think it also is again how much can you learn from that carousel? In depending on, of course, any domain. If like right now, I'm very interested in skilling myself up in design because I notice, hey, I honestly always wanted to learn design. Why not do it? So if a designer, for example, posts a carousel these days, I am like meticulously like reading through it and like, man, wow, this is nice. This is what you can do in Figma. What? I didn't know that. So, but if I see someone posting another, I don't know how to set up, I don't know, instantly or how to buy mailboxes or in Zapmail. I have no idea. Whatever, I'm like, man, this is so easy. I'm not the right person. Like if me 1.5 years ago would have again done the same thing, most likely like, wow, okay, this is how you do it. Whoa, okay, this is how you easily buy inbox or whatever. But yeah, maybe it wasn't the right content for you.
I guess you also don't believe in this like produce 1,000 pieces of top of funnel content kind of stuff then. Because I feel like like this post of like these carousels of how to set up the email inbox domain. Like that's a huge thing that a lot of people that in my industry like they don't do this correctly. And so now we have like partner programs like I have partners with like Instantly and Scaled Mail and all of these different companies, and like they help me do it. I don't pretend to be an expert in that field. Can I manage it? Can I oversee it? Can I understand like the technical and dive into the admin panels and like make sure everything gets set up? Of course I can. But I never thought it was hard. Like I never thought that it was worth it to do a 10-page thing to but then again like somebody like for instance like that's very niche. I don't think that that's like a beginner intro content piece. I don't know. I've been thinking about making more content on it. Like on these like I thought about making 10 6-minute videos
Ooh,
and then just line them up on YouTube for like a podcast, like just like and like episode like and then it's exactly an hour. 10 lessons in an hour.
I would watch them most likely. If they are about like, I don't know, setting up reply AI agents or something, which again, I don't really use, except maybe for like a client who like a reply agent, but super basic and instantly, I would definitely dive into these episodes. So there's at least one viewer.
One viewer, awesome. I mean, one's better than none, right? Going from 0 to 1 is hard. So I guess like we just skip the step. So okay, this is probably a personal question, but I'm gonna ask it to you. What what keeps you up late at night?
Ooh, mm, so I would say it's One, I would say I'm still not 100% over my past relationship. So this is one thing that sometimes comes up. Um, Outside of that is the overall market movement on the business side that keeps me up is how am I gonna survive and how can I adapt with that market? Where outbound, a service that we're offering and that we're doing well, is going to evolve when you have all these companies that are getting better and better in either helping you do list building, like instantly, for example, obviously not still not as good as I am doing my list building with Clay and data scraped from, let's say, Google Maps and any other places or websites. But again, it's going to evolve. The second thing is, what if anyone is going to learn how to create content for themselves? Because all these tools that we use, of course, I mean, they want their market share. And if they can remove the middleman, which is, for example, again, my company with my content offering, they have more revenue. And I fully understand what they're going for. But this is where I'm also thinking, okay, what again can I offer? And how long is it going to take? Obviously, I can't predict the future, but these are things that just, make me think sometimes when I'm on a low or I'm like, shit, am I really going to survive? And like, am I going to be here in 2 years? How should I adapt? And then again, it can get like this huge spiral of overthinking. But what I then do is just look at my current clients, their results they're getting, and depending on, of course, on the client, some are like, I don't want to learn this. I don't want to touch these tools. This is something I don't enjoy. And I'm like, perfect. I am the person who likes doing it. And as long as there are people who, no matter how sophisticated the tool is, if they don't like the activity, I mean, same goes for myself. There are things that I don't like doing, like finance. And even if someone gives me a tool like, oh yeah, Sönke, this is the perfect finance tool, blah, 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 blah. And again, I don't like the topic and it doesn't really interest me if I look at numbers all day. So I will certainly not be like, oh wow, this is something I am able to use. So that's like, again, of course, a bigger picture of how sophisticated will these tools be, and maybe their UI is going to be so easy that every noob is going to be able to suddenly use everything. But yeah, that's what keeping me up at night. Not every day. There are nights where I sleep well, but yeah, definitely the whole market involvement.
That's really interesting because like at the end of the day, like I have like somewhere, yeah, there it is. It's like all the way on the other side of the room. Go figure. I have like a whiteboard, and the other week I had this. Before we talked, I had this like whole session for like 3 hours with my girlfriend. I was like, why am I sleeping well? Like, what, like what the hell is going on, dude? And I couldn't figure it out. And we came to the same idea was that like there are always going to be people that just don't want to do what I do and they can't do what I do. And it's my job to figure out who those people are and sell to them because at the end of the day my job is to help people. That's why I got into the whole business is I want to help people. And when I first started, I felt really guilty for taking money. Actually, like I didn't grow up a business guy. Like I grew up around business, like, parents and everything like this. But it was, I'm just giving advice. Like I'm just doing what I'm good at and I'm getting paid for it, which is very weird way of looking at it. But I have to I go back to my own mission. It's like, I want to help people. I don't mind spending 9 hours with you before you pay me because, hey, like if you find value for it and like I'm not charging for those discovery calls, like the auditing calls and stuff like this, like, and you walk away with an audit, like let's do it. I mean, don't dupe me for it. Don't waste like 9 hours of my time intentionally. That's kind of rude. But like if it helps you And that helps me in the long run, like, let's do it. I feel like I'm fortunate enough to be able to pivot really quickly as well. But I do get scared too. Like quite like very honestly, I get very scared of how fast everything is evolving. Because everything that we do, in my opinion, with this like AI crap and everything like this was not available to us about a year and a half ago. And now we have like people that are completely re-engineering everything. Like now everything, like I don't even touch a tool, for instance, if it doesn't have a webhook. If it doesn't have an API, I can't, I literally, like, I have zero interest in touching it or doing a discovery call because it means it's not integratable into my next stack. It's stuck. It's like stuck right where it is, and I don't want to ever be stuck. That's why Clay and hot take here, the only reason that Clay is as successful as they are is because they do everything. They have a webhook and they don't silo any of their data in platform. They make their data accessible every single place with every single integration. And they were the first to market and they were the first to do this in the space. And I think that's why they're successful, though. I don't think it's because it's a superior product, in my opinion.
Hot take. Hot take. Yeah, I think, I mean, again, I am not an expert when it comes to growing like or building a big software business, but I think what they also are doing well, on top of being like very available, is definitely the community piece. And like I saw like friends of mine getting these boxes, like these gifts, and to all these like solutions partners, and it's really cool. And I think there are again competitors rising up, like tools like Freckle. And like there's another tool called Outbond, which is definitely not focusing on the CRM enrichment side like Freckle is doing, but rather on, hey, I want to build lead lists fast and efficiently. Yeah, I'm very curious if any of these tools can take their market share because Clay is definitely, yeah, in the forefront. They have done a very good job with these Clay creators that post content about their company for free, which is, in my opinion, insane if you look at the costs that would otherwise come with it.
Yeah. Um, I think they've done a very good job with community. I have my own hot takes there that I'm going to be doing an episode with Adam about. But yeah, I mean, they've built a whole industry around themselves. They've defined a whole segment of work around them. So I mean, they are successful. I'm not a genius when it comes to making a billion-dollar company or billion-dollar valuation. But I definitely think like from the user side, like there were some issues, like from the software side, there have been issues as well. But like everything gets fixed eventually. I would say eventually it gets fixed. Um, but yeah, I think I what's a hot take that you have
Mm,
that you haven't shared yet?
that's, yeah. I mean, I have one which is I mean, a bit more basic is that even right now with the client, I'm running two campaigns for two different offers to two different segments in the market, and both of them have zero personalization. I mean, I already told you I am definitely the least technical person in the whole like GTM space, I would say. I'm very messy with everything. I just want to go from A to success for my clients. And so I never really used crazy personalizations, like these AI created sentences and rarely used spin tags. And I still got good results. And this is, in my opinion, something where I saw even like Eric Nowoslavsky do a post on it with like backed up data. So I was just like, wow, that's cool because I have never used it. Because again, for me, I was like, do I really want to do this? Like, where's the benefit? And I'm pretty sure there are very amazing use cases where you can at least get some data that you can plug into it. But any form of like hyper personalization, and I think last year we had this spot where people were suddenly referring to, oh yeah, by the way, the pizza shop across the university went to, amazing, and you've never been in that city and you're just lying to people so you can connect with them. And again, since it's B2B, what's the benefit? Like, hey, can I save time? Can I make more money? Can I save costs? What's the deal here? And that's where I think personalization has come to that tipping point where we are so fed up of, hey, I noticed you just whatever. Oh, I saw you engaged with random person's content piece and therefore I assume you have a whatever. I don't like it. Honestly, I don't like it. I hate it, especially when people message me on LinkedIn with this. Like, what the hell? Like, this is such a generic message. I really hate it. Like, again, when I do LinkedIn campaigns, and I rarely do them because, again, right now I'm just like doing rather manual prospecting and instantly is running the high leverage scale campaigns, is that whenever I do it, I am using no personalization. It's just like very nice segmented list. Oh, okay, I helped a branding agency close a 16K deal in 2 weeks. Perfect. Let's just contact branding agencies in that sphere, in that space, with a focus on these kind of people. Perfect. I craft the copy, boom, and I get responses. And it's just the first name that is personalized. The rest is very straightforward. And so yeah, my hot take, personalization is overrated. We are reaching a tipping point where these AI slobs have come to us where we just like these easy messages again with like zero personalization but maximum benefit.
Do you feel like it's like do you feel like the whole market is gonna like tip over? Like do you feel like it's gonna like pop a little bit in the next few months, or is this like a 1 or 2 month kind of thing, or is this like a 6 or 12 month kind of thing?
So I would say, since Eric was posting about it too, and I certainly wasn't doing it because I have data to back it up. I was just a lazy bum. Like I just didn't want to deal with this personalization. So I would say again, since he posted about it, I would say this is kind of like the frontier. So for me, Eric is always like somewhere in the frontier. So again, then we have this whole other market that's going to pull. So I'm pretty sure there are people waking up right now and they discover what we discovered 1.5 years ago. And they will be like, whoa, AI personalization, let's use it. Because again, I'm pretty sure I wake up to things which people like you, for example, have already discovered when it comes to, let's say, AI agents. And for me, it's like I just discovered fire. But for you, you've been already cooking for 1.5 years, and you've been eating steak. You boil pasta because you suddenly have fire. But to me, it's brand new. So I would say there's going to be a drag. And again, there are people also like Understory, like Alex Fine, who's building so many crazy things, just like you, that 10x their output. And these are like the people in the forefront. And I'm pretty sure at some point everyone is going to catch up, but it takes, in my opinion, years. So I would say I'm pretty sure you and we will definitely get hit by AI personalizations in 1.5 years from bigger companies, mid-market to enterprise, that might discover AI personalization, tools like Clay, etc. at some point. But yeah, I just look at, for example, my mom, she's working in a big pharmaceutical company. And when I see their sales force and how she works, and sometimes we talk, and again, I have no experience with a company of like 50,000 people. I can't imagine how hard it is to like build a CRM, especially with like product management on top of that. But when I see their workflows, I'm just like, man, I am so happy I'm not working at a big corporation. But they are also investing into AI and stuff. But there's this huge drag. So like in a video game, like you shoot and then you have a, I don't know, a ping of like 500 milliseconds. This is how it's gonna be, in my opinion. You have everyone is gonna be there in like 100xing in 1.5 years, while you have these people like, oh wow, here, we went to the same university, biggest lie on earth. The pizza place was amazing.
I it's interesting. It's interesting to to hear your opinion on this because like I get hit with this and like I agree with you in the fact that like if you if you're sending me a message and you're like, "Ah, I saw you commented," dude, I delete that shit so fast. I like don't even just send nothing. At this point, just connect with me on LinkedIn and then pitch slap me in 2 days. It's fine. I would rather you do that than you connect with me and tell me about a pizza place in Prague. Great, I've
Yes.
probably been there. Yes, I've been to every pizza place here, but like I don't need that. I think like this is very interesting because some of my clients are, I would not say dinosaurs. I would say they are, scale ups, Series B, Series C companies, or they're enterprises that want to integrate this like AI kind of stuff. And when they kind of like get in the discovery call with me and like these like rounds, I was like, okay, what are you doing for processes? How does your team operate? And they have these SOPs. Like they have the documentation to tell their team like what to do. They have these training documents for their sales teams. They have, like how the designer works. They have all these different, things. And they're like, we just want to put an AI layer on top. But for what use case? And I think this slop of like this misunderstanding of what they're able to do and what they've seen they're able to do on like YouTube, on LinkedIn, whatever. They see this and they're like, ooh, that's shining. And then they like have a real conversation. They're like, it's not applicable to them. Or they just go ahead and make the purchase with a service provider like an agency or, outside talent. And they're like, oh, this catastrophically fails because they didn't adapt to their situation. And I think these like dinosaurs, especially you mentioned like Salesforce. I don't do prospecting. I don't do targeting to companies that do Salesforce. Like, do I know how to use it? Yes. Do I know how to configure it? Yes. Do I know how it works? Yes. But like, do I want to deal with that slow moving motion of enterprise in trying to adopt something that is inherently fast moving and experimental, like especially with artificial intelligence? Nope. And I've just noticed this is like a pattern, especially like a buying pattern from looking at like I take notes of what my clients use. Most of them use HubSpot. Say 90 to 95% of the businesses that I work with in the mid market use HubSpot. If they're too small, then they're probably not paying for HubSpot. Like or if they're not using HubSpot, they're using Adio, Breakcold, or something in house like Zoho or something that's like a Google Sheet.
Monday CRM is,
Monday CRM,
yeah.
like whatever it's going to be. I used a Google Sheet for the first 3.5 years of my business. And I have no shame admitting that because you know what? It was free, it was cheap, and it had all the data, and I didn't have more than 1,000 contacts in my thing. So it was just a matter of like, what do I need? Okay, I know how to build this. I know how to organize my custom fields into rows and, delineate. But I think moving with a fast moving growth mindset from both sides becomes a lot easier when you both have the mindset. It's a lot harder to do when you're fighting this 50-ton dinosaur with 7 or 10 stakeholders against a dinosaur of a machine and trying to implement that something that's going to be super fluid. And I think like these are I would say like AI implementation programs, like these, AI mandates that I'm undertaking now. But what I'm seeing is that people are buying these, like my skills to be able to not do this in 12 months. They don't want to do this in 12 months. They want to do this in 6. They want to do this in 3 to 6 months and they want to say, "Come in, audit all of our shit. Okay, like get in here, understand what our processes are, build the context layer, build the GitHub, build HubSpot data configuration, build the orchestration layer in Cargo." Like I enjoy this, but I think there's only I think there's less than 10% of the businesses worldwide, at least, from what I'm seeing, that are in that mindset. Like have that growth, like holistically, everybody in that team that's going to be managing that AI or that, that LLM or that AI agent, just because I build a tool doesn't mean it's going to get adopted. And I feel like crap when they're like, oh yeah, like 3 months later we turn the workflow off. Like, damn, then why'd you have me build it? Why'd you pay me? You know? So I think like a lot of companies are making this mistake where they're just like, yeah, we see the shiny object, like we see Clay, we see like Gemini, we see Claude, like these are all great tools, but then they're like not clear. They just see it and they want it, and it's like, okay, guy with director chair sitting in the director chair is like, oh, I made a friend. Okay, that friend is gonna do something for us. Okay, pay him $10,000. Yeah, that's how it works. That's the reality of the business world. Um, but I think at the end of the day, I don't think all implementations are successful. I don't think like all content is successful. That's just my opinion, though. Like staying on top of what's best in the market as an expert is a full time job in itself, in my opinion. So yeah. Sorry for the really long monologue. I guess I kind of got off tangent there.
Oh man, interesting. Like, I like to listen to it.
Um, is there? I think we're running out of time. Oh my God, we're almost at the hour. Um, so I think it's time to wrap up, and I think I close with this. What is one piece of advice in less than 5 sentences or less that you would give to somebody in our field, in AI, go to market, content generation, that you'd like to pass on?
If you want to, like, if you never posted content and you want to get started, think about it yourself and ask your family and friends, what do you like to talk about? Define 3 content pillars, put them into ChatGPT, get 3 post ideas, play with it, and just start posting. And you will eventually bring in more reps. I tried to nail 5 sentences.
I was not counting. I was just like I was listening. Okay, yeah, I love that. You know what I used to do though? What I used to do is I use GPT-2 and Claude, but I used to actually write the post against Claude and be like, yeah, tell me like what, like before I post this, tell me like what I'm missing, and then like, hey, like act like this, like act like a harsh LinkedIn critic, and that's what I used to do. I used to post on Claude, and I'd take that output and I would try to post and change it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Also a great way.
yeah. Then I don't have my ego being hurt when 3 people plus Sonko like my post and four is not enough.
Mhm.
Um, okay, well, Sonka, thank you. I guess we completely went off topic, but yes, I'm super happy to have you on, and I'm gonna join your podcast when you start one someday, I think. But yeah, for everybody listening, thank you. Sonka, where can the viewers find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. If you put my profile in the show notes, this will be the easiest because Sönke Venjacob is very hard to spell. And that's pretty much it. Where I post every single day, and you can always connect with me if you want to talk about go to market. I really like, again, content. You might have learned from it. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And feel free to connect with me and reach out.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Sonka, thank you.
Thank you.